Well, you're right on time for breaking today. Good evening from where you're watching us from. My name is Joel Church and our sign language interpreter is Michael Maivia. We have a lot in line for you and these are our top stories. Kenya's COVID-19 positivity rate now at 5.7% after 161 people have tested positive for the disease in the last 24 hours. In a special feature tonight, we bring you the silent political life of Susan Waititu, who contested Juja by-elections after the demise of her husband.
3.8 mwaka jana, jambo ambalo lingeweza kuambiwa kwamba kitu kilichosababisha kuanguka kwa uchumi ni...
We get to show you what it's like in a day in the life of a news reporter. Talk to us via social media platforms as CTV Kenya, Joel Chacha M on Twitter, as well on Facebook, CTV Kenya and Joel Chacha. Send in an SMS via 111 444 111. We start off with matters politics. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi has answered back his critics who have accused him of dividing Mount Kenya region, saying he stands for peace and unity and anything else will follow later. Majibu Kisao filed the report.
On Saturday, several governors, MPs and aspirants who met in Kieni hit out at Muturi, dismissing his newly found spokesman role. CS Peter Munya, Anne Waiguru of Kirinyaga and Martin Wambora of Embu appeared rattled by Muturi's elevation and hurled jabs at him. But Muturi is calling on all leaders to forget their differences and seek the unity of Mount Kenya.
Naunga mkono watu waendelee kuwa na mikutano, bora ni ya kuleta uwiano kati ya Wakenya, amani katika sehemu hii yetu na amani katika nchi ya Kenya. But I say charity begins at home. So here at home, we must be people who embrace peace and people who embrace unity.
Muturi was accompanied by MPs Muturi Kigano of Kangema, Kanini Kega of Kieni, Muranga Women Rep Sabina Chege, Defense CS Monica Juma, and Water PS Joseph Irungu. Kega and Chege urged Muturi to soldier on with his appointed role of uniting all leaders from the mountain region.
Sisi wote tukiungana pamoja, Mheshimiwa Justin Muturi ambaye ni speaker wetu, wale wengine wote ambao wanataka nyadhifa za uongozi katika ngazi zozote, tushikane pamoja. Tutakapotoa ushindi, basi tutakuwa tunasema sisi kama jamii ya Mlima Kenya
tunamwambia bwana speaker, ingia katika Mount Kenya, kuja Muranga, enda Kiambu, tuite sisi wote, tunakuheshimu, we all respect you Mr. Speaker. Pali unaona tukipotea, hata kama mtu ni wa hii side ama ile nyingine, wewe utaweza kutushikanisha sisi wote kwa sababu umoja ni nguvu.
The Kieni MP said the divisions in the region might cost it dearly come 2022, adding that the leaders have to purpose to work together and deliver a win in the forthcoming general election. Chege, on her part, said the strength of the region lies in its numbers, which runs to about 10 million votes, adding that this is a political weapon that the region cannot afford to gamble with. She also urged Muturi to be free in visiting every corner of the region, as that is his home. Majibu Kisao for Switch TV.
Our people are very passionate.
Now, in a quick rejoinder, the Service Party leader Mwangi Kiunjuri says it's too early to determine who the kingpin of the Mount Kenya region is. According to Kiunjuri, a kingpin is determined by tyranny of numbers and not endorsements by a few individuals.
I believe that whoever is running for president in this country, they have intelligence, they have a capacity to do research, to know who is the most popular person from Mount Kenya region. And that person who will be so popular amongst our own people should be the one to get the highest level, the highest seat in the country, either deputy president or any other seat. And therefore, what we are saying is that it is very early to decide who becomes the deputy president. It is about people. Let people campaign. All of us qualify. Moses Kuria qualifies, Kabogo qualifies, Karaito Moroge qualifies, Mwangi Kiunjuri qualifies. All of us are qualified.
Shifting gears now to matters health, the COVID-19 pandemic continues spreading in the world, with Uganda being the very latest country facing a surge, with its infection passing the 60,000 mark, with over 500 patients succumbing to the disease. Faith Wambua with the details.
As the world continues to grapple with the harsh reality of the coronavirus pandemic, with many succumbing to it from all over the world, African countries continue being among the worst hit countries, with Uganda being the most recent country facing a COVID surge, with its tally being above the 60,000 mark with over 500 deaths. In a bid to ease the surge being experienced in the country, the Ugandan army has begun producing oxygen for state-run hospitals, the supply coming after reports of district hospitals facing a shortage in oxygen supply. Meanwhile, the sum total COVID numbers in Kenya as of today stand at 175,337 positive cases, with 171 people testing positive in the past 24 hours. 14 people have succumbed in the same time frame. The positivity rate as of now is at 5.7%, a drop from yesterday's 7.2%. Nairobi County was today leading with 52 cases, Siaya 44, Homa Bay 11, Mombasa and Meru 9, Kiambu with 8, Migori 6, Kisii 5, Kakamega and Nakuru 4, Kisumu and Uasin Gishu 3, Bomet, Kericho and Wajir holding 1. The vaccination rollout in the country for the second dose is currently going on, with those with 58 years of age and above, together with healthcare workers, being prioritized. Faith Wambua reporting for Switch.
Thank you, Faith Wambua. Now, it's news time. You're glued on your screen, ready to be informed about what's happening in the country and around the world. But do you know what it's like and what it takes to see that 1 minute story? Caroline Suma got to the field with Switch TV's and news reporter David Kagina just to show what it's like in a day in the life of a news reporter.
3.8 mwaka jana, jambo ambalo lingeweza kuambiwa kwamba kitu kilichosababisha kuanguka kwa uchumi ni uongo.
It is 8 a.m. on Thursday morning. We meet one of Switch TV's news reporter and anchor David Kagina, who ushers us into a day in life of a journalist.
My name is David Kagina. I'm a reporter here, a journalist here with Switch TV.
But before we get into the field, Kagina has to undertake a crucial process of pitching his story in a meeting, a similar occurrence in any newsroom. And after pitching his story, off we go. Switch TV normally has two bulletins, a Swahili one that airs at 1 p.m. and English bulletin for 7 p.m. The young lad prepares to go on a live session for 1 p.m, but things don't seem quite easy for him. Something journalists also go through in the field is that very few people willingly accept to speak in front of the camera, whereas a bigger percentage refrain.
Naweza kupata for a minute kindly.
On such a big day like this in national holidays, camera persons are not left behind in the struggle, as they have to ensure they get the perfect shot that will make you who is watching understand exactly the story is all about. As Kagina confirms, a journalist has a specific time to get into the office, but no confirmed time to leave the newsroom.
Being that I do produce most of the bulletins, you find that we leave after the bulletins. These might be most likely between 7:30 to 8. But there are days we have shows that extend late into the night, and so at times we leave up to 9.
and what keeps him going despite all the challenges?
One, I'd say I love the job. I didn't come to it for fame, money, or anything. Just doing it gives me the fulfillment. So despite the challenges, you'll find me here tomorrow morning somewhere else where there are demonstrations. You'll find me there running after to get the best of shots, to get the best of bites, to get the best of interviews, even as they are ongoing, because the drive is from within, not exactly from outside. I'd say enjoying what you do puts you in the job. For someone out there who doesn't exactly understand what they want to do in life later, I'd tell them, choose one thing that you love, something that you would do for free, something that gives you satisfaction.
Well, this is just a tip on the iceberg of what happens in the day-to-day life of a news reporter. When you are glued on your screen to watch television news, at least you have a rough idea of what happens. Caroline Suma, Switch TV.
Thank you, Caroline Suma, and I'm sure you now know what happens in a daily life of a news reporter, especially here at Switch TV. And with that story, now take a short commercial break. We'll be back with a special feature tonight. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Breaking Today. My name is Joel Church and our sign language interpreter is Michael Maithia. Moving on 22nd of February this year, Georgia constituency lost its member of parliament Francis Waititu after long illness. His widow Susan Waititu got into the race to succeed her husband but ended up being the first runners-up. Our reporter Namukana Samuel went back to Georgia to understand the political life of Susan Waititu. This is the silent story of Susan Waititu alias Wakape.
I am on my way to Juja constituency. For the past 2 months, I have been covering a by-election here. I spent days and nights in this region, but something struck my attention during my coverage. I took keen notice of a candidate who was a front-runner, but she rarely campaigned or addressed the media. She had won the primaries and was flying the ruling party Jubilee's flag. After the results of the by-election were announced, she became the first runners-up. I am back here to understand her secret political life. I am Samuel Namukana. We get to her home in Juja constituency at around 4 p.m. We are welcomed by calm and silence in these neighboring leafy suburbs. In what could be described as a twinkle of an eye, Susan Waititu appears from the front door of her magnificent home. With calm and silence, she welcomes my crew.
So I had my counseling center, but you know, in the process, my husband got away. In fact, he passed on just recently, shortly before the campaigns. So now, from there, I had to close down because I was the sole caregiver.
2 months ago, Susan lost her husband Francis Waititu, who had been the member of parliament for this region for 8 years.
I had actually accepted as the MP, so I had to give him out, you know, to share him with everyone. It's literally that way, because you'll have people calling him for help. Some ladies even calling for house rent, you know, and all that. You know, and being a lady, that can bring a lot of issues here and there. But because I had accepted and I decided to let go of him, to do his work freely.
Her husband was bedridden for 6 months due to brain cancer complications that had taken a toll on the member of parliament. Susan had to stop everything and was to be there to watch over her sick husband.
You know, the first time he was diagnosed, it was in 2017. And by then the doctor, it's when he disclosed to us that he had brain tumor, he had brain cancer. And we were told he actually had around a year or so to live, in fact less than a year. Between 5 months to 12 months, that's close to half a year to live.
On Monday, February 22nd, 2021, hell broke loose and Francis Waititu succumbed to the deadly disease at MP Shah Hospital in Nairobi.
And now down that line I could see the progression, how he was going. Like, no, there's a time he was talking, there's a time he could sit up, watch TV. It reached a point where he shut down completely. Now he could not even open his eyes, he could not talk, he could not even smile. You know, he went down all that. So I was kind of psychologically prepared. It was to come, and it was inevitable.
In about 3 weeks, the family mourned the head of the family before the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission announced the vacancy for the Juja by-elections. This meant the constituents in this region had to go back to the ballot to elect their representative.
And I felt he had also started a lot of schools that were actually incomplete. Some of them he had managed to construct maybe around 1-2 classes, so they were on the first phase. And I felt that if somebody else stepped in, his dream could be scattered, or his dream could be shattered. And I felt for his legacy, as I'm saying, I should step in and come in.
Okay, so how are the Juja by-elections?
Juja by-elections, they were not very easy, and especially speaking as a woman and on a woman's perspective. For me, first I was antagonized a lot because of people felt that I should have stayed maybe through grieving and all that.
Susan had no choice but to try and inherit the seat left by her deceased husband. But how were the campaigns from her perspective?
You just said that it's really hard for a woman to campaign. Yeah. Why is it so?
It's hard because you see, because of the financial aspect. So through the nomination, I really struggled. But after nomination, you know, for nomination, you were a lot of us in Jubilee. So the Chama could not have singled out one person to assist. But once I was declared as a Jubilee candidate, the Chama came in. The Jubilee came in a big way to assist me.
This was the voting day in the constituency. At around 11 a.m., Susan Waititu made her way to JKUAT Primary to cast her vote.
Okay, for the election day, especially for me, you know, after voting, I mainly came to the house. I came to the house.
In less than 12 hours, results started streaming in, and Susan had no choice but to watch as things were unfolding.
I was anxious. There was a lot of anxiety, but I had my children here. They were with me, and I also had some friends who were keeping me in company. But now come in the evening when the results started streaming in, it's when it started hitting us that things are not going right.
At around 11 p.m., Kiambu Governor James Nyoro, accompanied with other leaders, stormed the Mangu High School, the main tallying center, and vote counting was suspended.
It was a scaffold that actually they were trying to see that things are done right. Because there are some votes, even now I can claim my votes, some of them were not counted. And that is what they were trying to push for all my votes to be counted. But now you see the IEBC decided to go with the tallying votes that were being streamed in. But we had the votes on the ground that we could have counted one by one.
Susan lost the seat to George Koimburi of People's Empowerment Party.
And by then, I think I still had time to see it and accept and think, oh, now from here, I need to move on. So even when they were being announced, I already knew, so it never caught me by surprise.
Before I could conclude my interview, I had to ask how they met with the late Francis Waititu.
Oh, my husband. Exactly. It's a long story. It's a long story.
Really short.
That's a long one. Okay, for one, about Mheshimiwa, how I met him. He had lost his wife. And his wife happened to be my aunt. And he got injured. He had an accident. That is how my aunt passed on. So he had these two little children that were left behind, and I was so close to my aunt. So it's a story that I intend to put up, to do a writing on it. And from there, himself, he was injured. So I used to take care of him. And then from there, I went back to school, and we continued talking and all that. One thing led to the other, and I became his wife. Well, this is my family. Here I have my grandson, ndiye mdogo kabisa in the family.
Okay.
And now, and he's the same one here. This is my daughter, the husband, and that's the son now. And now here I have my family, the whole of us. This was in 90 what? No, not 90s. About 89. And now this is him in a CMA tie. He used to be a CMA member. Yeah. Gengi Muigai and the wife, Catherine. And that was in 2009. Yeah.
For Susan Waititu, popularly known as Wakape, for now, politics is on hold till further notice. Namukana Samuel, Switch TV, Juja, Kiambu County.
Yes, the world has heard of many harrowing stories where fishmongers are exploited in one way or the other. Now, women in the cities like Nairobi are not only contributing to the development of the country's business sector, but also have been playing a vital role in changing social norms of doing businesses. Our very own Apollo James spent time with one modern fishmonger and now brings us more.
Then you just cut through, move your hand pole pole.
Meet Elizabeth Kinyanjui, a modern fishmonger who is young, posh, educated, and digital. With a background in hospitality management, she started selling fish in the most unexpected way that saw her efforts turn her into a very successful entrepreneur. Today, I'm here to experience firsthand what she does on a daily and to help her prepare one of her favorite seafood delicacies.
Okay, at first, I didn't know I was going to be a fishmonger because I studied hospitality, but later on, I really love seafood myself, like because I'm from Coast, because I like to eat fish myself, so I started to bring fish from Mombasa for my own consumption. And then that's how I started to sell to friends and family. Yeah.
Armed with 10,000 shillings capital, she started selling fish from her house through her Facebook and Instagram pages.
I was actually employed in the hospitality industry for actually 8 years, because I started working as a waitress since I was in school. And my last job before I quit to do this hustle as the main job, I was actually in the same position doing customer service for 4 years. You see, already I could see that there was no growth which was coming. So I really had to find something else which was more fulfilling, because life in Nairobi is not cheap. So I was here in Nairobi. I had transferred from Mombasa thinking I'll have bigger opportunities here. But little did I know that, you know, the opportunities are not handed to everyone. Exactly. So here we are doing something different.
After receiving huge responses from consumers, she opened a shop in South Bay, since most of her clients, including restaurants, are from that area and its surroundings.
I studied hospitality, and you know, usually you expect when you study hospitality that you're going to manage a hotel, a restaurant. Exactly. So nobody tells you that you'll probably be a waiter for 10 years, and then maybe you get a promotion to the next level, maybe a little extra 5,000. But then really, none of us, even up to now, the people I went to school with are hotel managers. Everybody is just out there hustling. So that is the sad truth, that you have to just go out and look for what's best for you.
Her daily offers are exciting, which sees customers trickling in back to back with variety of fish to choose from.
For us in Mombasa, fish and seafood is actually a street food. Something that you can just walk by the street and get for 50 shillings, 5 shillings, and so on. Like pieces of fish, we get the prawns when they are fried, even in their shell. So it's really something that is readily available for us. So when the pan is hot like that, so we go ahead and we put the prawns ndani. So you have to do a little bit of tossing kidogo, like that. So basically, we are just going to cook it like that. Prawns cook in very few minutes. 3-4 minutes, the prawns are done. To make sure there is the pan is non-stick and there is enough oil in the pan and high heat. So you see, if I turn them, they're already starting to cook.
Like any other business, her business went through trials at some point. She had to start afresh after a fallout with a partner.
The first time I had a partnership, but before then I was selling fish from my house for 2 years.
What happened to the partnership?
It didn't go well. It was a partnership with a man. There was also a lot of, I'm the man, you're the woman, and really after growing the business from scratch, I didn't feel like I wanted someone else to control what I was doing. So I had to start over, and now I'm doing the venture by myself, and it's really easier when you're making the decisions for yourself.
By establishing herself as a successful fishmonger, Elizabeth wants to turn herself into a role model for society so that no one feels shy to do fish trade.
Don't be afraid to do it. It's going to be hard. It's going to take more of your time. You'll have absolutely maybe zero social life, but then 5 years, 10 years down the line, you're going to be proud that you took that step.
At the end, Elizabeth treats us with the mouth-watering fried prawns and red snapper, and it's clear that not only is she a great entrepreneur, but also one fine seasoned chef. Apollo James, Switch TV.
Time to now get sporty. Kenya Premier League Giants FC Leopards are through to the Betway FKF Cup after knocking out a solid Equity United through penalties, following an enticing nail-biting encounter that saw the Leopards claw through the Money team 6-5, booking a finals ticket.
Anakula njama, akili ni tayari kabisa kwa ajili ya kutetemesha nyavu. Chini kwa chini, kipa anacheza vizuri. Elvin wakiwa studio na Mulama watakuwa natupasha.
Now, following Denmark versus Finland's yesterday night's incident, Christian Eriksen remains stable in hospital and has sent his greetings to his national teammates who stayed put in ensuring Eriksen was in good shape. Eriksen collapsed shortly before halftime in Denmark's opening Euro 2020 game against Finland on a Saturday, where his captain Simon Kjær was the first to attend to him, calling the medical staff later on, guiding his teammates on to cover Eriksen from cameras, and also went on to console Eriksen's wife.
And this does look serious. Very privately, of course, as quickly as possible. That became apparent.
Well, that's all here on Breaking Today this evening. My name is Joel Church and our sign language interpreter is Michael Maidhi. Our producer has been David Kagina and director Boaz Chibole. Until next time, do have a safer good night.